Hi there, I'm Caitlin Crosby. I am also a member of Baker's Finest, and today I will be discussing my contributions to the final project, as well as the group dynamic principle of critical thinking and of problem solving. So let me first start by saying I am an addict. Thankfully, I'm an addict in recovery, but nonetheless, I have learned through my years of recovery that I will always be an addict. And this is something that I have used to help others and to relate better to others. So it was great that I was able to use this during the final project for our group. So today I will be discussing first why our project was valuable to me, then my contributions to the final project, and then I will touch on the group dynamic principles of critical thinking and problem solving. So the final project was valuable to me because it is important for me to let people know that there is always hope for recovery, no matter how hopeless a situation may seem. And it's a project I feel spiritually and emotionally connected to, and so that was very valuable to me. Also, it tied well with my plans to eventually become a licensed psychologist who counsels addicts seeking recovery. And I also think it's just good for society to all be more aware of the theories on addiction and what addiction actually looks and feels like. So that's why it was important to me. So my contributions to the final project were personal experience, and I shared that during our final project, and I told a story, and I also gave references for people who are struggling in places that they can find recovery at. I helped with the ideas or making sure that things align well with the topic, since I know a lot about this topic and have a lot of experience with it, and more than probably many of the group members. So those were my contributions. Now, the first group dynamic principle I would like to discuss is critical thinking. Critical thinking skills are used to evaluate the credibility or usefulness of claims that others are asking us to believe or apply, or that form our own beliefs or actions. Finn 2019. So critical thinking is so important in a group because we must evaluate what each person is saying and what sources we're using. And if we are actually meeting the requirements of a given assignment as a group, because it's easy to get off track and get into that group think mode where each of us are just agreeing with each other and we're not looking for fallacies. So our group used critical thinking often, and we use this to decide if the assignments were, if we were on the right track for our assignments, and we also use this when some of us thought we were on the right track for the assignments, but others weren't so sure. We use this to evaluate our material that we used, and we use this to pick sources. So critical thinking is also important in problem solving. Problem solving is how a group solves a problem that they may have. So an important factor Adam and Katelynns talks about is understanding what a problem is. And there are 5 factors to understanding a problem, 5 characteristics of a problem, and those are task difficulty, solution multiplicity, intrinsic interests, member familiarity, and acceptance level. So our group did a really good job of problem solving together, and we problem solved well, I think, because we utilized the group conferences, and we were all very committed to coming up with a good decision and not just answering the question. We wanted to get it right. And so that was very helpful to our group for problem solving. We use problem solving constantly. It felt like even though there wasn't a problem between members, there was lots of problems that needed to be solved. We also utilized the group contract, and we rotated leaders. So I was a leader week 3 and 4. Denny was a leader week 5 and 6 of our group making of our final project. And that was how we problem solved. We all came to a understanding and agreement, and that was how we problem solved. So to conclude, our group, my contributions were my experience with addiction, and our group used critical thinking to determine meaning of things and sources, and we used problem solving to understand our critical thinking and to solve the problems that our group faced. And I want to end by saying Adams and katelynns discussed that being in a group is taxing. And I would have to agree. But they also discuss that it is so rewarding, and I agree with that more. Our group has blossomed, and we've all developed relationships with each other, and I'm happy to say that we will know each other after this class and be friends. So thank you for letting me share.